Okay, good morning, everyone. Might just do a quick sound check. Is everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Wayne. Right, so we're week 12. Woohoo, made it to the end. Week 12. And last week we did File.io. Finally got to File.io, which is good fun, but it's the last week, which is a bit of a shame. And this week's, normally we're working through the past exams this week, but there's no exam this term because of COVID. So you've got a little project to do, and you write the spec and you write the code. So you get to see both sides, which is great practice for you. And so I suggested last week you can bring along anything you want to work on, any questions, issues, problems, anything you want to work on. Or if no one's got any, we could do work on something, maybe continue work on a dog's GUI or the lecture example from week 8 or 9, whatever it was, week 8 and week 9. But the main thing I want to talk about.
Hello. Just speaking of issues, I'm really not sure what idea would be good for the assignment 3. I just ran out of ideas.
Okay. Have you got a DVD collection?
DVD collection?
Yeah, or books or anything you collect?
Not in Rockhampton.
No, but at all. Or when you were little, did you collect anything?
Yeah, some minifigures.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So figurines. So why don't you do a figurine collection database where you can enter the name, the type, the rarity, the set it belongs to. What set is it? Is it part of the Pokemons? Is it part of the whatever mons? You know, all that sort of stuff. Maybe a description or a condition and a value. And you can have a little database where you add all those things into, you know, and so you got an add button and a search button and a display button. Maybe a delete button, or maybe even an edit button. I don't know. You only have to go to about as difficult as week 4, according to the spec I saw. So
is the final result supposed to have a practical use, or
no? It's just
no.
It's just a project you want to do, something you can think of. Yeah.
Okay, so I can make some random stuff.
Random, yeah.
Yeah.
Your favorite movies, your favorite TV ads, if you like TV ads.
No.
Whatever you like. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm interested in video games, music productions.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Music, video games, perfect. Yeah, so all that's good. Anything like that's good. Okay. Try and come up with something's a bit different to what we've done already. Mm-hmm. So you know, maybe have some check boxes, maybe a combo box. If you could do that, you know, something that's a bit different to what we've done already, and that would be awesome. You know.
Okay.
Because there are the basic question is week 4 standard. If you do a GUI, there's bonus marks. Mm-hmm. And if you do a bit extra, like check boxes or combo boxes, if you do a bit extra stuff that we haven't really done an assignment yet, then you know that helps you get the bonus marks.
Okay.
I just got a question here from Jarrod. I'll put that on the window as well. So got a question coming up. That's a good question, no Sanjin, good question. But don't stress about the topic. Anything you like that's not anything we've done so far. Yep. So we've done dogs. You could do cats, or rabbits, or whatever you like. You know. So, yeah. So the question here from Jarrod. I wanted to create a program which would allow me to store the name of a band, name of a song. Perfect. Also wanted to place in a tap tempo. Oh, okay. Where you could tap the space bar. Wow. Along the beat of a song. The program would save the time between each tap and divide by the amount of elements placed into the array to find the beats per minute. It's a great idea. I would also like to be able to display all the songs searched by theme or beats per minute. sort and so on. I was wondering if this would be okay. Okay, and it's a scope of what you've learned so far. Okay, so what you could do instead of pressing the space bar, you could click a button repeatedly. So just add a button to your user interface, and you could have a start. You'd have a start tempo button, and a stop tempo, and a click button. Okay, so you've got 3 buttons. You click the start button, get the date and time. Click the button as much as you like repeatedly. Okay, and then click the stop tempo button, and that will give you the end time. So every time they click the button, you could add 1 to a counter. When they click the start tempo, set counter to 0. When they click the stop and get the time. When they click the stop tempo, you could get the date time. So yeah, it's definitely doable in what we've done so far. It's a little bit clunky. If I had a little bit more time, I could show you timers and things. And but this is still fine. This way is still fine. So it's just 3 buttons: start tempo, stop tempo, and a click button. So the start tempo would set a counter to 0, get the current date and time, and then you click the click button in time with the music for as long as you like, 30 seconds or whatever, it doesn't matter. Then you'll click the stop tempo button, get the current date time again, work out the number of seconds, so end time minus start time, and then do a calculation to get seconds, and then work out the beats per minute. Okay, does that help, Jarrod? Yeah, okay, and if that all gets too hard, if that's too hard, just stick with the original idea. Just you know, just leave the tempo out, okay, and have songs and song names and bands and the year they release the song, or the year they release the album, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but don't get bogged down on this. Don't get bogged down on that. That's a really nice to have feature, but you know, if you make a GUI with where you can enter bands and song names and song durations and whatever, then that would be awesome. Okay, all this tempo stuff's really a nice extra, but don't get bogged down on it. Don't get sidetracked. Maybe have a quick try. If you can't figure it out within half an hour at the most, then leave it. Okay, so another question there from Sanjin. So Sanjin's question: are we allowed to use functions of Java which we haven't learned? I don't remember reading anything about that in the spec. Let me just have a quick look at this. The assignment 2 spec, the exam alternative. So what cement project? Okay, so what I suggest is so I only use limited stuff within reason. Don't go, you know, way beyond what we've learned. Don't forget you've got limited time, and you don't want to devote hundreds of hours to this and not revise for the other exams. So you've got to focus on the other exams as well. So I suggest only sticking with what we've learned in the course. And but if you need to go out and do something with local date time, we did a bit off in the course, or date time to work out durations and things, that's fine. But don't go way beyond. Yeah, don't go too far. Another thing you could add is, because we did some file I/O in week 11. If you made something a little bit like assignment 2, which was a different application and had some different GUI controls, but had some file I/O on it, wouldn't that be awesome? So in the constructor, you load from file, and when they click the exit button, you save to file. I mean, just that alone, adding something like that to the assignment is a project. So change your GUI controls instead of pizza name and pizza size. It's something to do with a record collection or movies or anything else. That's within scope. Okay, so Byron's going to mess around and figure it out. That's fine. Yeah, just mess around. Like I say, don't spend hours on this. If you can't figure it out within, half an hour, leave it. I'd say even half an hour is too long. But there's some classes that you might find useful: local date time and date time, especially local date time, because you can get the difference between two date time objects, and then you can convert that to seconds. And away you go, you got your beats per minute. We could have a quick go at that in class if you like. We could have a quick go, and we'll get Jarrod started on that if you like. That's one thing we could do. Got a question from Byron there as well. Let's get Byron's question. Keep the questions coming. I love it. Awesome. Thank you. Are we allowed to use GUI builder applications to build the GUI, or are we required to build it manually? Okay, now GUI builders, like NetBeans, they generally produce horrible code. And the way I think of it is they pollute your beautiful code with their horrible code. And in the past, when we've tried to teach students, we started with NetBeans as the editor in the introductory Java courses. The whole term, all the questions were about, I cannot get NetBeans to do this. What the hell's NetBeans doing here? So nobody asked, how do we get this file I/O bit to work? It was all about, how do I get NetBeans to do this? They couldn't even get NetBeans working to get onto the other stuff. So be very careful. I'd suggest for this course, build the GUI manually. That's what you've had to do for the assignments and what I've encouraged in class, and what we've done in class. And build the GUI manually. It's not really a lot of work, and you piece it together and pollute. There we go. Yes, I recommend build it manually, and I think Bruce would agree with that. I don't think he says anything in here. I know the assignment spec said it must be built manually. I don't know if it says it in this spec. And see, really the GUI interface is only optional anyway. And I haven't seen the marking guide on this, so the GUI interface is optional, and it's for bonus marks, I think. Okay, we've got 9 people now. That's good. 9 people. Wow. Okay. So these are scenarios you can't include. So pizzas. And these are topics from prior assignment terms, prior terms. So, so things like solar power, wind energy. If you're trying to create a wind farm and it had 5 mini turbines and 5 bigger turbines and 50 solar panels of 250 kilowatts or 250 watts or whatever, and you can work out the total energy produced by the wind farm or the renewable energy farm. That's a great topic. If you've got solar panels on your roof and you want to record solar production by day. If you've got solar panels on your roof, you want to record the production. So today we've got So we've got 9 kilowatts, and the weather was cloudless, blue skies all day. And tomorrow, or yesterday, we only got 5 kilowatts, but it was cloudy and windy all day or whatever, you know, so you could record the weather and the output of the solar panels. And even if you don't have solar panels on your roof, you can still pretend. Okay, so these are just all pretend projects. It's just have fun. Think of something that you want to do and do it, you know. And if you can't think of something you want to do, just come up with something you collect or something you're interested in. I remember when I was at high school, one of my brother's projects at school was to work out the frequency and length of ad breaks. So TV ad breaks I'm talking about here. So you could write a little app that helped you with that. You know, so how many ads, topics, how long, and then you can have the total and the start and end time of the ad break. And you'll be surprised once you look at this stuff. It's not random and it's not uniform throughout the program. TV channels are very, very sneaky about when they put ad breaks on. Okay, it's not just you know, the same frequency throughout a movie or whatever. There's different frequencies and they're really sneaky. And once you look at this stuff, you'll see what they're doing, and it's all a game they're playing with us. I won't tell you what the game is because you've got to figure it out for yourself. But that could be something you do. You know, so the sky's the limit, really. Yeah, so I'd say build a GUI manually anyway. Back onto topic. Okay, so another question from Jarrod. That's good. In future courses, do we learn about APIs to access data for our programs? See, there's a whole lot of stuff that I'd love to cover, like JSON data formats, accessing web APIs, SQL Server, accessing SQL Server databases, accessing MongoDB databases, MySQL databases, and so on. The XML data format. We could probably fill a course up just with those topics there quite easily, and we don't cover them at the uni. We used to have more advanced Java courses where we did do things like this, but they weren't very popular. So when a downturn came in student numbers, all the unpopular courses or all the least popular courses got cut, and the courses that cover this sort of things were part of it. Now, with that being said, there is a project work course you can do. I think it's in your third year. You can do a project work course where you can suggest a project, and you can cover all these things and learn all these things. And if you need help, like I say, if you need help, don't forget the Mike's Java videos. And I don't have any up on yet on MongoDB or SQL Server or whatever, but I'm adding them as I go. So they're up. These sort of things, they're all on the way up onto my webpage there. So don't forget Mike's Java videos. Hopefully they'll be there by the time you do your project. And let's go to my Java folder and scroll right to the end. Web APIs, London stats. I mean, in this little project here, I've delved into the YouTube API, which is I don't even want to show you. It's so huge and complex. But I use it to keep track of. So every night at 7 o'clock, it gets the number of views, the changing views since yesterday, the number of comments, the subscribers, the number of videos I've got online. That's public videos. I've got about another 60 that are unlisted or private, and the number of likes and dislikes, and the like percent. So that's a little project I developed just to keep track of my YouTube stats, and I've got it running on a server. So it's not running here locally on my machine. So my machine's not on all the time at 7 o'clock. So, I mean, that could be something I showed you in the course, how to use the YouTube API. And that would easily be a week of term, just to show you the basics. So good questions. So to answer it really, there's the project work course, and in that you can tie up, so there's some database courses you can do at uni, base courses, and usually it's Elizabeth Tansley. I don't know if you've done any yet. Have you done any database courses yet? Usually Elizabeth Tansley takes them, and she's excellent. Okay, and it's Access and MySQL. Oh, sorry, SQL Server. And then quite often she asks me to come in at the end of term and do a week on connecting to Java. So I do that if she asks me, but even if she doesn't, there'll be a video on my Java videos. So if there's not one there now, and there's a link there. Good question. Good question. I wish there's more courses. I wish we covered all this sort of stuff and a whole lot more. And really, even the topics we have covered, the great big iceberg topics. I keep going on about icebergs. The great big iceberg topics, and we only cover the very tip. And there's so much depth to all these topics in encapsulation, overloading, polymorphism, and things we even talked about like inheritance, OOP and OOD, object-oriented design. There's so much depth in all these things we haven't even talked about. But also the truth is, even if you had 20 years at uni, even if the course lasted for 20 years, I still couldn't teach you everything. By the end of 20 years, we might have covered all of Java. But then we've got all the other things to worry about as well. So yeah, if you enter the software development, computer programming, if that becomes your field of work that you want to work in, get ready for a lifetime of learning. It never stops. Just when you've got a handle on a language and you think, oh, I'm now really comfortable. You know, I know I've covered everything to do with this language now. I've conquered it. Yes, they'll release a new version which changes things and adds things. So it's a lifetime of learning. Never stops. And of course, that means lifetime of challenge as well, because you can never rest. Always got to keep learning. Any other questions? Shall we have a go at Jarrod's tap tap? Sound like fun? Sounds like fun to me.
Excuse me?
Tap tap. You know the tap tap thing we're talking about.
Tap tap?
Tap tap. The
tempo. Yeah, the tempo one. Yeah.
Tap tap. Okay. Sounds like fun to me. Jarrod, do you want to have a go? We'll have a go. Or do you want to do some more GUI stuff? Yeah, let's have a go. It's going to be a fun little project. I'm going to call it Jarrod's Tempo. Jarrod's Tempo. Tempo calculator. There we go. That sounds nice and scientific. Okay, that's a good point from Wayne too. And so let's put Wayne's question up. What would be helpful in me, I think, would be to spend time covering developing the spec. Exactly right too, Wayne. We should talk about that. So, systems analysis design. Have you guys done any courses on systems analysis or systems design yet?
Systems design.
Yep. It's just, Jarrod said we've got a systems analysis class. Yeah, that's right. Where you got to do user specs and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a course which, when I was at uni, everybody hated.
Yeah, strongly agree.
Everybody hated it. Hated it. And everybody thought it was an absolute waste of time.
Descriptions were so wordy, it was really hard to understand.
Exactly. So wordy and nebulous and vague. Exactly right. It hasn't changed. I've got a quote here. I'm not going to say who it was. I'll never mention who it was. I absolutely.
We can all see it.
I absolutely despise systems analysis, and that was everyone in my class. Also said that too.
OMG, really?
Yes, everybody hated it. But the second we got out into industry, within months, we all said, my God, it was one of the most important courses we did. Okay, and that's because, okay, it is a waffly, vague course. So much buzzwords and stuff. But the idea behind it is actually very important. Okay, and the whole idea of analysis is that you ask every relevant question, and this is what it all comes down to, and you document the answers in concise, clear, whatever, bullet points or notes or whatever, diagrams. That's what it all comes down to. And another comment there, true, but it doesn't make it any less painful or boring. That's exactly right. Yeah, very boring. It was everyone, all of us said the same thing in 84 and 85 when we did it. Yeah, that's right. So diagrams don't seem useful, but only absorb a little bit. Yeah, so there's a whole lot of stuff you can do, but what it boils down to is those 2 points. Ask or explore every relevant question and document things really clearly. So we can have a quick, and a good thing when you're doing analysis, and it's really only once you've done analysis in this design, and then depending on which framework you use, there's usually some sort of development. Then there's testing. Although a lot of these things usually happen in parallel as well. So, but once you've gone through those 4 steps, basically 4 steps, you learn so much. Okay. And then if you have to go back around again, because when you get to here, you realize, damn, that question I should have asked back in analysis, I didn't ask because I was worried it was going to open a can of worms. You realize what the important questions are. So it's only by going through the 4 steps that you can, that you realize, damn, I should have asked that question, or gee, my analysis spec was really lousy. I need to do better on these points. So once you go through, and that's why this project's beautiful. It'll get you ready for the project work course if you want to do the project work course later. Okay, so by going through these 4 steps or pretending to in a little project, you're going to learn a lot. Okay, and you'll probably find yourself doing a bit of the spec and then doing some code. Okay, and then because you're trying to flesh things out, then you do a bit more of the spec and then do a bit more of the code. And you'll probably find yourself doing that a lot. That's okay. Okay, that's okay. That's all good practice too. So, oh, okay. Yeah. So Sandrine said there's a beats per minute website you can use. Yeah, we'll do our own. We'll do our own if we get to that. Okay, so the spec. Does it say analysis spec or does it say just general spec? So you even create your own marking scheme. So you're creating your own mini assignment. This is actually a really good project for you. This is actually really good. Okay, because you'll probably do a little bit of these and do some coding, and you'll say, "Oh, I should have added that into the marking scheme. That's something I want to add in as well." You know, so you'll go around these steps a lot, and you will learn a lot. Okay. So the scenario, so title page, that's easy. Completely describe your program, including a description of the scenario you have chosen, examples of calculations, pricing schemes, what needs to be input, what needs to be output, including the cumulative values, and at the end of the program, we'll display all in a GUI. Okay, so it's only a little project, so don't worry too much. But so the scenario could be something like just keeping it simple. I'm just summarizing it down here, and then you could do it. You could even do a screenshot of your application in there, or you could do a mock-up in PowerPoint. Do storyboards if you want to. Or screenshots of your app. Either are fine. I think Bruce said either in here are fine. Screenshots, yep. Cost per night, and then number of nights. Okay, so if they rent it for one night and they don't return it in 24 hours after that date time, then late fees apply. I don't know, you could just make something up here. Extra hours times $1.25, I don't know. You could have type of movie. So these things you'd explore here. So you say what the inputs were, and then you'd have a rules, you know. So you'd have validation rules, the late fees rules. Be greater than or equal to $2.50 or whatever. So, but the thing is, don't go overboard. Okay, don't write 20 pages. Try and keep it. I think try and keep it down to like 2 or 3 pages. You know, so try and keep it short. That's going to be a trick. Keep it short. So clear, concise bullet points are ideal. Pseudocode's great as well. Pseudocode. Just try and keep it short. And that's probably overkill on the inputs too. Just try and have maybe 2 or 3 inputs, maybe 4, but don't go overboard on the inputs. I think if you did something like that, where you had something similar to sort of that, that would be way more than enough. Okay, so so try and don't go overboard with the 20-page spec or anything. Because also I've put my hand up to do some marking on these things. So you know, keep in mind that I'll be reading 20 pages times 28 students. So if I just mark the rocky ones, I don't know how many I'll be marking yet. There's sort of things you flesh out, sort of similar to what the assignment 1 and 2 specs were. That sort of level of detail, that sort of style's fine. Whack a couple of screenshots in there, some late fees, some calculations, some validations. Describe the user inputs, you know, a basic description of what the application's for. And I think that's pretty well close to what you need to do. The scenario, the screenshots, the input and output, create them, and your marking scheme. So again, don't go overboard. It doesn't have to be as detailed as the assignments. Now you might have 5 points: the user interface, the code, does it work? You just have a fairly sort of basic marking scheme. It doesn't have to be as detailed as the assignments marking schemes. And I'm not sure yet, but it would be good if I could use that marking scheme to mark your assignment. Oh, okay, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case yet. Does that sort of help? Does that help? Anything you want me to expand on further?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. So 2 to 3 pages plus title page, that's more than enough, And that's including screenshots. So we're talking about, you know, a page to a page and a half of text, if that. Just try and keep it short. And if you can fit it all on 1 page, thumbs up. Because I'm going to be marking a lot of these things. Okay, so little screenshots and all on 1 page, perfect. Yeah, so what you think about systems analysis? Perfectly agree completely. But when you get out and you go through the project life cycle, you realise how important the analysis phase is. And if you make any errors up here in the analysis phase, they magnify when you get down into design and development. And if there's any changes when you get down here, any things that weren't asked up here or weren't answered, or any mistakes that were made up here, down here you've got so much more rework to do. You realise how important this step is. So there's a bit of a trend. In industry that the analysis people should not be programmers. So the analysts or the business analysts, systems analysts, whatever they want to call themselves, they shouldn't be programmers. That's the trend in industry, and I think that's disaster. Because it's only by going through the stages of development you can realise what questions you should have asked. So these people come in, they do a spec, or a spec, it might be as thick as a phone book, might be several phone books, and then they ride off into the sunset, high-fiving each other, and you're left to do the design and development, and you're saying to yourself, why didn't I ask this question? Why did I turn over that stone? No, so if you're the poor sucker that's got to carry on after they've gone, and they've all ridden off to into the sunset, high-fiving each other on a job well done, and you realise they've done a really bad job, these people aren't learning. They don't know what questions to ask. They just think they're doing the right thing when they're not. So, unless you've been through the every stone, and even more important, open every. And I know I remember when I was doing a lot of work for clients and things, I'd be thinking, I don't want to ask this question. It's going to be a Pandora's box. It's going to be a can of worms. It's going to start all of these arguments if I ask this question, but I've got to ask it. Okay, and those ones there, the can of worms questions, they turn out to be the key questions that need to be asked during the analysis phase. They're the questions you really need to ask. And you'll find it when you get into industry, you'll say, I don't want to ask this question. And my boss has told me not to ask this question because it's going to open a can of worms. It's going to start all these fights. These fights are going to go on. People are going to get angry and be arguing about this for weeks. I don't want to ask this question. They're the questions you've got to ask when you're out in industry. And that's what these guys aren't doing. These ones that have never been through the life cycle, they don't know to ask them. They've ridden off into the sunset before the excrement hits the spinning device. I've seen that many times. So you got the spec and the code and the marking guide. And of course, they should match up. What your code does should be what the spec says it should do. And what the spec says needs to be done should be what your code does. So they should be. Okay. So there shouldn't be anything in the spec that's not in the code. Nothing should be in the code that's not in the spec, apart from comments, of course, and all that sort of stuff. But okay, what next? What should we talk about next? Tap, tap. It'll be a little gooey, and we'll have some fun. So it's not a waste of time. It's all learning. Okay, we'll get to play with date time. We'll get to work out how much time's between date time objects, how to determine how you can subtract them. Any other questions? So should we? Looks like Tap Tap's a winner. Unless there's anything else we want to talk about for now. We can always stop and go into other things anyway. Ah, okay, cool. Another question there. Related question to the assignments and stuff, but I was just wondering if you have any elective suggestions for someone who wants to heavily focus on programming. I found coding fundamentals, but I wasn't sure what it even covered. Coding fundamentals. I'd have to have a look at see what their latest electives are, but definitely do database stuff. And there's any web dev courses you can do, web development, the systems. Even though they're horrible, they will help you in the long run, sort of. You'll realize what they were trying to teach was important, even though the method they used to teach it was horrible. But, there's some operating system. I think the operating system course is gone. That used to be a great course. I think it's gone now. Used to be some basic AI courses, but they're gone as well, I think. So much is gone. But definitely there's a database courses, there's SQL Server database courses, there's web dev courses, there's systems analysis and design. And the person to speak to is Lily Lee. I think that's her email, just think. Oh. L.Lee. Okay. Lily Lee's the programmer coordinator. Yeah, all the interesting ones are gone. That's right, Jarrod. I'm sorry to say. All the courses that made CQ different and unique and interesting and gave us our own flavour. So we weren't just another Me Too university. They got chopped. We fought like hell to try and save them. It was horrible, nasty battles, went on for months, but we couldn't save them. Yeah, this when I was full-time at the uni. There's also Michael Lee. No, Andrew Chow. He's another great guy to talk to. And Andrew does a lot of robotics stuff. I don't know if he's got any courses on robotics, but he's a great guy. He teaches some programming courses as well, or used to. And his email would be andrew.chow, I think. A.chiou. I'll get there eventually. And Ron Bolsis is a nice guy, Ron Bolsis. he does some mobile development courses. So and that's definitely something you want to get into too, mobile development. And Ron's the person to talk to for those. Ron Volses. Web development courses. There's some for the guy in Mackay. What's his name? Database. I found a web dev one which I've added to my study plan. Perfect. Yeah. So I was full-time at the uni for about 15, 16 years, and I was always pushing for games dev courses. And my interview for the uni was to come up with a course I'd like to teach and do a lecture to the interview panel. That was my interview. And I did a lecture on games dev, and we developed the game in live in the lecture. It was only a basic one. It was pretty flickery, but we got the basics done in half an hour. Okay. It was a little Space Invaders type game. Okay. So there is a game dev course now, is there? There is a game dev course still? It survived? Awesome. Okay, well that's... Yeah, so games are a great way to learn as well. Games. Yeah. Have fun while you're coding and develop something that's going to be playable and fun, and you'll learn so much. Yep. And don't forget everybody's favorites. Systems analysis and design. Don't forget, if you're not real good on maths, it's a good idea to take some maths courses as well. You know, statistics, calculus. Okay, we only do the basics at the uni now. It used to be a whole bunch of courses, but it's really only the basics. But they'll help you as well get over your fear of mathematics. And calculus is used a lot in games, and stats is used everywhere. So just business applications, games, everything. So calculus will help you rotate objects on the screen and rotate matrices and all that sort of stuff. Matrices is another one, matrices and vectors. Anything like that's good to know, useful to know, and it'll help you with games if you're going down the games route. $10:55, so we've still got an hour and a bit to go. Okay, might do some, just because no one else has suggested anything, we'll do Jarrod's tap unless someone else wants to work on something else. We could, won't take us long. Jarrod's tap won't take us long. So 3 imports in our class. Main method, public static void main, string, square brackets, args. Go new Jarrod's tap calculator. An anonymous object. We need our constructor. Do a tap. Bad name, but so I'll let people catch up a bit, but that's our basic framework we're going to need. I'll let people catch up with that. Oh, I've got a temp calculator. I meant to call it tap calculator. Doesn't matter. Just going to keep it really basic. Visible to true, set size to 500, 500. Set location or set position, set like. I always get set location and set position mixed up. Good. It is set location. I was thinking it's set position and set position, but no, it's set location. I don't know why that never sinks into my head. I'll just pause a second, let everyone catch up. Okay, everyone got that? Everyone okay? Everyone got that? Anyone still need time? Sing out the window if you need it, or Okay, let's move on. Okay, we'll just have like the buttons, the button panel. We don't even have any buttons yet. J button, start button. Stop. Yep. So add the buttons to a panel. Add the panel to our user interface. Add button panel. We'll add it to the south region. So by default in Java, all J-frames have a border layout, and we haven't overridden that here. We'll change that. So it's still got a border layout. So we'll add it to the south region. So 3 buttons, add them to a panel, add the panel to our user interface. Next thing's to wire up the buttons. So start button, dot something, something with a special symbol, followed by something. I'll see if anyone can remember those bits when we get to it. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Mike. Perfect. Yep, so we're doing it the shortcut way using lambdas. So it's event with a lambda sign, which is a nice shortcut way of writing code in Java. And we're adding it as a listener for our button. So just do that for each one. Stop button. Stop button runs stop taps. Tap button runs do a tap, or whatever you want to call it. I've got to do a tap. And that's our basic interface. We could add labels and all sorts of things, but I'll leave all that for now. We might as well add one label. Might as well add one label. Okay, label, taps label, BPM, I'll call it BPM label. BPM. So I've added a label as well, BPM label, and I've added that to the north region of our border. Could have added it to the center as well, probably look exactly the same in the center. I'm just thinking of the future when we're going to maybe plonk a great big text area into the center. So we need to keep track of some things. Okay, so I'll wait till everyone's got that. Please confirm when you've got this done, and then I'll move on to the next part. And we're almost done, by the way. We've done the hard part. We've got about 5 minutes work to go, if that. Okay, so we're almost finished. No errors, that's good. Anyone still working? Can we move on to the next part? Are people still working? Okay, I'll assume people are still working till they type I'm ready or yes in the window down below or go or whatever. So I'll just hold off. So when you're ready to go, just type go. I'll wait till Jarrod and Wayne at least have got go in there. Jarrod's ready. Thanks, Jarrod. I think Wayne's probably ready. Anybody else working on it that needs more time? Please say in the window. Wayne's ready. I thought so. Thanks, Wayne. Okay. So what we want to do is have start tap, get the start date time and set the counter to 0. Do a taps, you can add one to a counter. And when user clicks stop taps, we're going to work out how much time's elapsed, work out the beats per minute and update the label. So let's add that in here. So that's what we want to do there. Initialize counter, whatever the counter is for tap counter, I'll call it tap count. And get the start time. Here we're going to increment tap counter or tap count. And down in here in stop taps, we're going to get the end time, work out the elapsed seconds, work out the beats per minute, and update the label. Okay, so that's a bit of work we've got to do. And it's actually pretty easy. So we need, let's have a look at our local date time class, so local date time. In fact, why don't we go and have a look at our benchmarking that we looked at in a prior week. We've got the code here already. You can go to local date time.now and then you just subtract them. Okay, so that's pretty well the code we need. Let's just grab the time class, import Java util.time. So I'll put that over here. Do another import. Don't forget the iMic. Import java.time.star. And then we'll go. So we could store start time down here. We could do that. That means only this method has got access to start time. Okay, and as soon as this method ends, start time's gone. Okay, so when we need to work out the elapsed time, we can't do it. So we need to make sure this is class starter. Okay, so let's take that up to the top and make it class starter, and we'll make it private. All of our stuff could be private. Put private in front of everything. Unless there's good reason for it to be public, make it private. Okay, so now we've got start time. Might as well add an end time as well. End time. Although that could be local to the method because we only need that in one method. Okay, it could be local inside the stop taps, and we also need a tap counter or tap count. Private int tap count. There's the 3 bits of data we need. Start time, end time, and tap count. So we don't want to declare start time here now. It's declared up above. So make sure you take that out and just say start time equals. You don't want to declare it locally as well because then you've got shadowed variables going on. You've got a local copy and a class copy. You don't want that happening. Okay. Down here, you want the end time. Okay, end time, start time. Up here, we want to set tap count to 0. Tap count is equal to 0 in the start tap. Set tap count to 0. In the do a tap, we want to just add 1 to tap count. So tap count plus plus. And we're almost done. We're very nearly done.
Would it be a good idea to have the do a tap button disabled until you click start?
Oh, that's a good idea, Wayne. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that a little bit later. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. We'll do some button disabling and just to make it a bit more fancy. But so if you have a look at the help here for the local date time class, you can see this is really good little method here. Get seconds, and that gets the seconds that have elapsed. It only gets you 0 to 59. So if we start at 59 and then do taps for 10 seconds, we'll be in the next minute. So that's not going to really help us. So maybe we need to go smaller. Gets nano of a second. So what do they recommend? What are they based on? Daytime object. The time is represented in nanosecond precision. For example, the value of that is, okay. Yeah, milliseconds, yeah. It's just we're going to be careful of second brand. We're going to make sure we get the milliseconds since midnight or milliseconds since the current date time, that's all. seconds only return 0 to 59. So if we go over a second, it's going to go back to 0. So it's not going to be accurate. So let's have a look here. Get year, get month, day, month, minute. Get long. That sounds better. Get long. Naughty help, it should say what units is in. It should say it's in milliseconds, whatever. Anyway, we'll work it out. Okay, so beats is the tap count. 1.0 times tap count divided by elapsed time. And we'll work out what elapsed time is. Is it milliseconds or whatever it is? We'll work that in a second. And then we'll update the label. So BPM label, set text. It's going to be our BPM plus okay, so calculate the end time or elapsed time. Elapsed time equals end time minus start time. The beats per minute is 1.0 times the tap count to convert it to a double, and then divide by elapsed time. Just make sure we're doing floating point division. That should trigger it anyway, but I just like making sure by putting a 1.0 in front. Just age-old habit to make sure I convert it as quick as I can. So you just need to work out whether we need to do a divide by or multiply. We need to convert this to seconds. I think we're probably going to have to multiply it by, will it be in milliseconds or nanoseconds? I'm thinking it might be nanoseconds. We'll find out soon anyway. Okay, so, and then we set the label to the beats per minute. Let's give it a go. If everyone's up with that, we'll give it a go. Just make sure you get the right code, get the end time, get the elapsed time, and get the beats per minute. Okay, let's compile and run. Control 1. Ooh. Okay, we might do a get nano on there. Get nano. But then there were longs. Okay, get nano. I'll try get nano on here. End time to get nano, start time to get nano. Okay. BPM label. Oh, I had BMP label. BPM label. There we go. So I just put a get nano on there. Control 1, Control 2. Our first test run. Ooh. Start. Tap, 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 tap. Stop. Minus 1.06 e to the -8, so it's a very small negative number, beats per minute. I think my calculations are out a bit there. And I'm doing seconds for a start, but let's display. Just put some print line statements in there to see what's going on. Okay, control 1, control 2, start. It's coming out with a huge value there, 1.2 times e to the 9. I'm also displaying the native start time, which will tell us the day, month, year, hour, minute, second as well. So that's what this is doing here, these start time and end time. So I'll display it in a full date time format, just so we can see what's going on. See if there's a second boundary crossover or something like that going on. Start, tap, 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 tap. (11:24:16), 11:24:21. That sounds about right. So 5 seconds. So that should be saying around about 5 seconds. So it's out by quite a bit. And of course, we shouldn't be multiplying here. What should we do? We should be doing dividing, shouldn't we? Because we're now talking about nanoseconds. So we're dividing nanoseconds by a million. Okay, so, yep. Divide by a million. And again, I'll go 1.0 in front of that just to make sure as much as I can that everything's doubles. Start, tap, 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 stop. (12 to 16). And you'll see what's going on here is that get nano go back to the help. Get the nano of a second field. Okay, I'm pretty sure we want to use get long here, because when we move to the next second, nano is starting at 0 again. So every second it starts at 0. So it's so we want to go get long. I think it's called. So you've got to play around with the time, date and time methods as well. Get long, and that returns a long. Get long, get long, get long, get long. And what does that return? It's probably a nanosecond value, but we'll find out. So that doesn't say get the long, get the time for the current second. So it's going to be the time since date times are supported in Java, which is usually date in 1970. It's usually the number of milliseconds since 1970 or something like that. So we'll find out anyway. These will tell us. Okay, so I'll change get no to get longs. See how that works. Control 1. Mm-hmm. Oh. Get long needs something else. Get long. Temporal field. Null. Try null. We don't need to worry about time zones and stuff. Hang on, what's temporal field? Let's have a look. That might help us. Temporal field. A field of date time such as month of year or hour of minute. You can see very quickly you go down rabbit holes of this stuff. And none of those methods there look like they're going to help me. I was happening to some constants at the top here. One would say milliseconds, but I think we'll just say null. What's null going to return? Boy, oh boy. Let me have a look at... quite right, Jarrod. It'll get me an exception error. Let me have a look at some code over here. So you don't deal with these things very often. You write them once and then you don't worry about them. So let me have a look at my date time utils over here in my little folder. So any code I write that might be useful in the future, I stick it in its own little file. And these are all of them over here. Most of them. So I've got one down here. Get seconds between two date times. There we go. So that's just what we need. Get rid of that old calculation. Chop. Number of 6. Well, elapsed time 6. Let's just check what we need for a chrono unit. We need another input for chrono unit. Temporal chrono unit. I think that's all we need. Okay, so another import. Import Java time.temporal.chrono unit. Quite a mouthful, that one. It's another import there. And then we can use built-in functions to get the date and time, number of seconds, which is a better way to do it than trying to work it out ourselves. So java.time.temporal.chrono unit, uppercase C, uppercase U. Everything else lowercase. I'll copy that down below if you haven't got it anyway. There's the import there if you need it. Seconds between start time, end time. That gives us the seconds. Lapse time. And tap count divided by elapsed time should be fine. Cool. I'm happy with that. Control 1. Close the other windows. Close the other window. Control 2. I'll try not to block you over here. I'll try and move it over here so you can still see. There we go. So rearranging so you can still see. So I'm going to start. I'm going to go tap, 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 tap. That's about 5 seconds. Stop. Oh, you naughty thing. Once. Oh, I still have to get longs in. I'll take those out. Get longs. We're going to provide the temporal unit, which is going to be chrono unit.seconds. Okay, so don't worry about it. I'll come to those 2 lines out as well. Control 2, shrink the windows. Try not to block anybody. Shrinky, shrinky. No blocky. Start. Tap, 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 tap. Stop. 3 seconds. And we've got 1.667 beats per minute. Progress. So maybe you don't want seconds, maybe you want to go milliseconds to get you a bit more accuracy. But that's the sort of thing you need to do. Okay, so I'll let you play with it anyway. If you want to proceed further, you can proceed further. That gives you the framework anyway. Okay, so we can now work out the beats per minute to a song. Tap along with it for as long as you like. It's about 20 seconds or something. Stop. And we've got 2.36 beats per minute. Probably do a string format on that to format it as a 2.3 or something, or 2.4. Progress. So it's just the date times in Java. There's a date time class. There's the local date time. There's a local date. There's date time. There's local date time, and a whole heap of other classes to do with date times in Java. I don't know why they made it so complex, but it is a huge area. Just date time is a huge area. And then some of them support local time zones, some don't. Some of them you can do calculations like get the seconds between them. Some of them you can't, or can't so easily. I think they introduced one date time class early on, and it stayed there for backwards compatibility when really it should have got replaced. I think Java's got a lot of baggage. Either that or the devs are mad. Either one. They might be mad. Okay, that'll probably do for that one. Any other questions to do with your alternate exam, or any other Java coding questions, or file IO questions, or GUI questions, or sorting, or anything else? Okay. If everyone's happy, we've still got 7 people, which is good. If everyone's happy, I might leave. Will there be a Zoom class on Friday? Yeah, we'll do a Zoom class on Friday still. And we'll just continue on with whatever you want to work on. So bring your questions, bring your problems. If you want to, you can do a quick demo of your Java app if you want. Or if you email me the code, I could do a quick demo, and we could demo it for the class if you want, or whatever. If you want to show what you've done, that'd be great. I can't show the spec or anything. I can do one now if you want. Yes, I do one. I'll share the screen. Okay, we can't hear you, Wayne. We can't hear you.
There you go. Hear me now?
Yep, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, there it is. When the app opens, you have to enter the number of players that are going to be playing. I'll just do 2 just to make it easier.
Yep. Cool.
And then it loads them into the box at the top here.
Yep.
You can select which player. So as you can see, it's a dice roll app for Dungeons and Dragons style games, tabletop games.
Yep. Yep.
So if you want to make a roll, you select the player.
Yep.
You select how many dice you want to roll, up to 10. Select
nice.
Which sort of dice you want.
Wow.
And then you can add a modifier. So in Dungeons and Dragons, like if you're doing an attack roll, you might add your attack skill to that roll. So say I had an attack skill of 6, I might put 6 in there.
I gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, and if you just leave it blank, it just treats it as 0.
0. Yep. And click the roll button. Wow, beautiful. Okay.
So we have what roll number it is, the player. So they rolled 10 d20s.
Yep.
And these are the
values, yeah.
Of each dice.
And when you click another roll, does it just append onto the top? Does it? Or?
So it just
perfect. Yep.
Updates it.
Yep. And then you can display all if you want to see them all.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. No arguments then. No one can argue what the dice were last turn.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, delete roll. It just asks you for a roll number,
Oh, wow. Yep.
and it just deletes that roll if it's. So I'll put it in 2. Do you want to delete that roll?
Nice. Nice.
Don't really. So.
Okay. I mean, that's what you've done there is excellent, and I could virtually give that full marks on the spot. Just what I've seen so far, because I'm sure your spec will be fine as well. So, yeah, you can see you've got really good attention to detail there. That's excellent. Well done. What a great little lab. And it might be something you can use too. You never know. Yeah. Good. Excellent.
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Anybody else got something they want to show, or we can have a look on Friday? Have a look on Friday if anyone wants to show anyone. No pressure. No pressure at all. Okay. so Jarrod said, I'm sure I'll have a million questions by Friday. That's fine. Bring them along on Friday. No worries at all. Okay, so we might end it there. Thanks for coming, everyone. And still got 7 people, which is awesome. And special thanks to Jarrod and Wayne and Sanjan and Byron and anyone else I missed. But thanks for joining in, guys, and making the class so much fun. Okay. See you on Friday. Have fun. Take care.